This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Friday, March the 15th, 2024. The Ides of March are upon us right now. Coming up a little later on in the program, we're going to talk to the folks from Sweetwater Technologies. We caught up with them at Commodity Classic and talking about what their business is about and how it can help you find another source of income and help keep another generation on your farm. But first, let's go ahead and wrap up the week by taking a look at the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Well, we're at the end of the trading week here on this Friday afternoon, sitting down with Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net. And Curt, what did we see come out of those grain trades today?
Well, it's painfully quiet after the first hour or two earlier this morning. I think most of the trade was looking at, man, I got to get on this bracket, get in those pools, and then plus two, where am I going to drink green beer here this weekend for St. Patrick's Day? Just kind of lost the enthusiasm. But, for the most part, the market did hang in there. Did see a sale of 125,000 tons of corn to unknown destination. So that kind of helped confirm we do have some export business out there. Did not see any more cancellations of wheat from China, which is encouraging because they almost canceled half what they bought here this past winter. The other thing, too, is Chinese did cancel some wheat out of Australia. So it just was not here in the U.S. It was kind of international wise. Is China's bean business or grain business, their talk about moving some grain out of the reserve and replacing it. So that'd be more than welcome if they need some U.S. grain to replace those inventories for the most part. NOPA crush report was a surprise. 186 million bushels of beans were crushed. That was at the high end of expectations. The neat thing about this is this bean crush is going to continue to grow as we move forward as these crushing plants come online. So these bean bids could be kind of exciting here as we move on. Oil stocks just a little higher, 1.6 billion pounds. When you have a record crush, you got a lot of meal and oil around to move. And also, too, with that big, a little higher inventory of bean oil, we're starting to enter the big demand part of the season on it. So I would think those bean stocks will slowly disappear as we move forward here. As we went into midday, the commodity funds were sellers about 1,400 contracts of soybeans. They were sellers about 2,900 contracts of wheat, 2,300 contracts of meal. They were buyers about 4,300 contracts of corn and 2,100 contracts of soybean oil. Spread unwinding maybe might be the best word. They bought beans, sold corn, bought beans, sold wheat there going into Wednesday, early Thursday. They kind of reversed that, whereas corn kind of held its own. One thing on the movement market, when we were in the downtrend on the grains, the market just kept going down. It bounced 1, 2, 3 days and pushed back down. Hopefully turn the trend here. So I kind of keep in the back of my mind, maybe it'll do the same thing on the way up. We had a good pop off the low. We go up 1, 2, 3 days, correct, then get back up and get up. So it's going to be important for the market to find some support here first part of next week. Brazilian harvest, 65% complete. We got to have a decent idea on production there. It's just going to take some time for that to be realized or put in print. A year ago, the Argentine crop was really small. It took them quite a while to recognize they only had a half a crop. The weekly change, corn was down about 3 cents on the week. Beans up 14 cents on the week. And the wheat was down 9.5 cents on the week. So not too bad of a weekly change in through here. The wheat needs to really hold this week's lows. We had two key price reversals to the upside, made a new low. closed above the previous day's highs. If we kind of move below this week's lows, that wheat could be just an anchor to the whole complex. So I keep an eye on that. The trade's gearing up towards the end of the month and through here. We'll have the March plantings intentions report, grain stocks report. Grain stocks might be kind of important because maybe they might have underestimated last year's production a little bit, but we'll see what those numbers are. But the main thing is it's a 3-day weekend.
All right, so switching gears over to that livestock side of things, I know on the cattle complex are kind of holding out for more money in the feedlots, and hogs are kind of quiet, but what do we see coming out of the end of this week?
We've got some divergences taking place. Cattle's kind of run its course in through here. The hogs are trying to giddy up here after last week's pullback. Fat market, April's closed down 35 cents on the week. Up around this 190 area, we've got some resistance, some technical resistance. Hog-wise, we're up 255 on the week. We had a weekly backup here on it. Good support on these April hogs down around 83 cents. Over demand steam's fairly good in through here. We've got the product hanging in there. The loins are 88 cents a pound. Hams are 77 cents a pound. The bellies are around 125. That's the bacon. So products hanging in there. We've got cookout season approaching here. So we'll probably see these grills start to get fired up here and start to see a little bit better movement of the meat sector in general there.
All right. Well, Curt, we thanks so much for the insight. And if folks want to pick your minds at agmarket.net, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
1-800-779-1515. You go to agmarket.net, click on Intel. That's where most of the advice is, particularly if you're interested in some catch-up advice. Our marketing team does a great job of putting some ideas out there, so check that out.
All right. Well, Curt, thanks so much for the insight. We'll talk to you again next week.
You bet. Take care. Have a good one.
That again was Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net. We're going to go ahead and take a quick look at how those numbers closed. That comes to us on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network market screen.
May corn was up 3 at 4.36 3/4. Soybeans up 3 cents at 11.98 1/4. Soy meal down $2.70 at 3.3470. Soy oil up $1.03 at 49.42. Chicago wheat down 3 3/4 at 5.28 1/2. Kansas wheat down 8 1/2 at 5.66 3/4. Minneapolis wheat down 8 3/4 at 6.46 1/2. Oats down 5 3/4 at 3.65 3/4. Live cattle up 30 cents at 187.25. Feeders up $1.80 at 249.27. Lean hogs up $1.90 at 86.92. Pork cutouts up 55 cents at 93.15. And Class 3 milk was down 3 cents at 16.44.
And that's been a check of your market recap. We're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, we talk with the folks at Sweetwater Technologies. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, at Commodity Classic, we talk about what's new in agriculture and what's coming in future generations to come. And of course, it's keeping those generations on the farm. That is one of the biggest obstacles we face in keeping the farm around. Well, Sweetwater Technologies is around to help you become a business and also bring people back into the farm, especially a younger generation, that gives you more options for income in the years to come. And they're there to help support that business and keep it going while providing a vital service to a lot of the members of agriculture.
All right. We're here at Commodity Classic 2024 in Houston on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. All of our Commodity Classic coverage brought to you by the Iowa Corn Growers Association. Talking right now with Chad and Hannah from Sweetwater Technologies, powered by Grip.
Correct.
So first of all, let's start with there, Chad. Tell us a little bit about what Sweetwater Technologies is.
Well, Sweetwater Technologies is a drone business, a drone application business, and we've been one of the only real successful drone companies that has turned the drone application business into something very, very efficient and very, very productive. And now we've taken Sweetwater Technologies, we are franchising it, and we're here to bring that back to the farm. We're here to create business, an income-producing business that has value and growth potential for young kids that may want to come back to the farm.
And that is a big thing, talking about getting that younger generation home. I know that's a big thing in Iowa. It's not just, germane to Iowa at the time. But, looking for those new opportunities, how important is it to think about these new ways, thinking outside the box, and having a business like this, be a part of the business like this?
Well, for me, and I'm sure Hannah can attest to this, for me, when I got out of college, our farming operation wasn't big enough for me just to jump in and take off. I started, at that time, there were no drones. I started a livestock hauling business. Livestock hauling business turned into a custom farming business. Custom farming turned into custom application, to a ag retail business, into what we have today with Sweetwater Technologies. And Hannah, I know you've got your own story from the family farm in Indiana as well.
Yeah, I grew up on a diverse livestock and grain farm in northern Indiana, and my dad and grandpa always told me that I had to go away to college and go work for somebody else for 5 years before I could come back and be financially invested in the family farm. On that aspect, so I went away to Purdue University, boiler up, on that aspect there, and then I went and worked for a construction technology company for the last couple of years until Chad stole me away to come on full-time with Sweetwater Technologies here last in November. And we're just excited about the opportunity we have to give our potential future franchise partners on the way that we're going to be able to provide everything that they potentially might need on billing, receiving, service, support. If a drone goes down, they're going to have a new drone in 24 hours. Then on the sales training, everything on that whole aspect, the only thing that we don't provide is a water source and a mixing area. And they have to get their own acres. We're not out there getting the customers for them on that.
But we have sales support. We have
Yes.
lots of things. We have sales training. It's our job to set young men and women up for success. And much like I had with my livestock business and custom farming business, things like that, we want this to be a building block into something better. And this drone business has potential for something bigger and better as we get further into it.
So if you're looking at the aspect of maybe people watching this are thinking, okay, how can this, what's a way to get started? How do we get involved with that? And obviously, as you mentioned, you have the support. You're not just going to go, here you go, here's the stuff, turn you loose,
Right.
and hope for the best. You're obviously there to back them and give them the support they need. What kind of things can they think about? How good is this a way for them to think about diversifying, especially when things are getting tight and you have to look for different ways to maximize your income?
Sure. Well, like I said, it's our job to set them up for success, and I think with everything that we provide, we really have. We've got our own product portfolio, so they're just not getting income from drone application. They're getting income from product sales, and like I said, we provide the equipment that you see right here, and again, with all the legal support, technical support, and like Hannah brought up. A big one is if a drone goes down. Well, what do you do if you have wrapped up $40,000 in a drone and it crashes? You might be out of business. Well, we make sure you have a drone within 24 hours. I think we've got a really, really great business model that can really help a young man or young lady that's interested in staying on the farm.
Something else that we do is we hold the capital on the chemical side, so truly the chemicals then just get transferred to them and then they sell it to the customers. So they don't have to have that additional capital to have all these products sitting in their warehouse, sitting in their facilities on that way. So what we do, we are able to provide that additional support that way too. And then all the agronomy help, the product knowledge, everything. Even on right behind Chad here with the drone zone, we have 5 products that are designed to just go into the drones and that are exclusive to Sweetwater Technologies.
Okay, and so basically it's a situation where they're not going to, sometimes you get into a business, okay, I've got the drone available, but I don't have the product, or I've got this available, but I don't have that. It's like you've got one thing, but you never have the corresponding other. They're not going to have to worry about that.
We've got the total package. We're not here just to sell a truck. We're not selling anything. We're providing an opportunity to own a franchise. And there's been so many little businesses that start on the farm, as a kind of a side gig to produce a little income. And somebody might work real hard at it for 5 years, but at the end of those 5 years, they might want to move on. Well, everything they put their heart and soul into isn't really worth anything. And that's that's what we're trying to improve upon. You know, in 5 years, if somebody puts their heart and soul into a drone business and they get it built up there where they're covering lots of acres, selling lots of product, and in 5 years they say, you know what, I'm ready to move on to something else, or I'm just going to keep growing this and use this as a building block. But what I really want at the end of that 5 years, they have a business that they can sell. It has value. It's not just something that, hey, I've decided not to do it anymore, I'm going to close the doors on it. Nope, there's a business they have that's very marketable.
And of course, the big question is also maybe talk a little bit about the service that these people will be providing once they are, in business with you as partners. The service the franchisees will be providing, it's basically spraying crop protection products on corn and soybean acres, and then also having a product portfolio that just of products that don't have to be sprayed through drones. I mean, we have nitrogen stabilizers, we have biological planter box treatments, we have residue biologicals that eat up residue. There's so many things that we can add to help make the franchise profitable and not just rely on drone spraying. And so, we talked about the idea of the side gig and the support you offer. So why is it they should think about that and really consider that as more than a side gig, but yet something that's not going to interfere with their farming practices?
So they're going to be spraying roughly between June 15th until August 15th. So those 60 days is the hard work where you're going to be out there spraying and all that. But out throughout the year, you're still going to have to be in contact with the farmers to make sure, hey, how are you doing, all that stuff, because you don't want to just have that one touch with them throughout the year. You're still going to want to have those additional touches with them. How are things doing? Do you want to do pre-play? All that stuff. So truly the busy season is roughly June 15th to August 15th. So that allows that kid or potentially that farmer to still be there for planting and harvesting on that aspect. So it's a whole nother thing to add that additional diverse income to the family farm without taking away during the busy season.
And if they're looking at something like this, obviously getting set up is the main thing. Mm-hmm. What do you offer to help them get set up, to get them ready to go, so when they go out there, they're representing the company well and they're knowing what they're doing, so that we can keep building that sales base? So
I guess we'll have two different trainings on the aspect. The hands-on training with the drones, but then a separate training is product knowledge, what questions to ask, how to sell against a ground rig, how to sell against the helicopters, all of that aspect that way.
All right. Anything else that our farmers in Iowa need to know about for thinking about getting involved?
You know what? Reach out to us, Hannah. You can.
They need to head to www.sweetwatertechnologies.com. There's going to be two forms on there. You're going to have your application process. So if this is something that is jiving with you and you feel like this is something that could be a good fit, fill that out. We'll start the interview process. The sooner we start the interview process, the sooner that they're going to be able to get acres. There's also a contact us on there. If you feel like you need more information, fill out the contact us and I'll give you a phone call and answer any questions that you may have.
All right. Well, I thank you both so much for taking the time to visit with us here today.
Thank you.
Hi. Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and on our YouTube channel. Don't forget about our free market podcasts, which come out several times a week and are free of charge with market analysis through Google, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, and Podbean. From the iAron studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Andy Peterson, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.